Welcome back to Orange Track Outlaws. Today we are going to do a custom build for the Three Blind Mice May Challenge, which is the 66 Chevy Nova. Very cool looking car and casting. I've got a very cool paint job lined up for this. I've been wanting to do for a while. I think you're going to really like the end of it. I hope you stick around and watch the final results here. But without further ado, let's get started on this project. So here's our car. We got our 66 Nova. Already a pretty cool car. Flame job. Really cool. It's a shame really got to take this apart and strip it down, but we're going to get into it anyway. Also, I kind of picked this one because of the clear windshield and the red interior is going to match up later. But as usual, first thing we're going to start to do is drill some holes in the post. We'll start off with a smaller drill bit, drill a pilot hole, and we move up a couple bits larger to buzz the heads of the post off. As soon as we get them things off, we're going to take a screwdriver, we're going to pop this thing apart, and we're going to take a look at our interior and the rest of our parts and see what we got to work with. So this thing comes off, like I said, nice clear windshield, I like that. Red interior, I like that. The chassis, plastic with chrome, not a big fan of that. We're going to get that chrome off there, but we'll work with it. So the first thing we gotta do is get that thing soaking in some super clean. This purple stuff, big fan of it. It strips these chassis real nice, real easy with that have this chrome overlay on. Just drop it in there, and it really can take anywhere from a couple minutes to a couple hours. But you know, once it just kind of flakes off, you can take a toothbrush to it and clean it right off. So we're going to throw it in our little super clean bowl, and we're going to let that marinate for a little while, push it aside and come back to it later. Next thing we're going to do here, well, we're going to have to file our post down here before we forget. Get those rounded edges real nice, get the jagged edges off there from the drill. This definitely helps in putting it back together at the end with this thing's all clean. We're going to go ahead and drill our posts out later after it hits a sandblaster. So here's a look at what it comes out of the sandblaster. We're going to run this through the wire wheel box, clean all that sandblast residue off, and we're going to have ourselves a nice shiny little body to work with here. Big fan of the sandblaster over the paint strippers and whatnot. It's faster for me, at least. I don't gotta worry about them strippers and fumes and clean up and all that mess. Sandblaster does a nice job and leaves it looking really good at the end. But after getting all that off of here, here's a look at what our car looks like. Pretty shiny. A little bit of pits in there, but we're going to use some primer and try to cover that up later. Next thing we're going to do here is, I thought it'd be really cool to add my own side exhaust pipes in here. They're kind of molded into the chassis, but we're going to go ahead and grind those out a little bit. We're going to put a little notch in our body so they'll stick out a little bit. And when it's all said and done, we're gonna paint up some of the chrome on the bottom of this chassis and make it look really cool. So first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna get off those old exhaust tips. They were maybe you can only see half of them anyway, so they look a little chintzy. You can't really get a good look at them, but I'm going to use some of my smaller brass tubing than used for axles, and I'm going to make me some side pipes here and paint them chrome later. But a lot of testing and fitting here really is all it's going to take. And it is kind of a goofy design underneath, how it kind of comes out of the front of the muffler and curls around out the side. But I would have to say probably not the most ideal way to do it. But we're going to make it look like it was you know, stock. We're just going to have some nice custom tubes coming out now. Got to notch a little bit out of the side skirt there, so I want the tubes just to stick out, just enough to see them. I think it's going to be a real cool small little addition. You know, the little touches in the end I think set them off. So kind of a pain to do. Really takes some time and effort to get this done, but I think we'll be happy with it in the end. So anyway, we're just gonna keep test fitting here. We're gonna get our groove notched out here as best we can, and try not to tear up this chassis as much as possible. But you can see it's really starting to come together here. The tube's fitting in well. It's fitting in the notch of the side of the body. So it's going pretty good. Gonna have to work on notching out both sides, and you know, I kind of wanted it to stick up in the body a little bit to give it a little bit more, I guess, to bite on when I glue them in. Didn't quite work out exactly as planned, since there's a real big bend in there. It wanted to pull the tubes off the body, or off the bottom of the chassis. So after I get like a U-turn bent in them, I'm gonna go ahead and basically kind of cut them flush, and so they'll just kind of lay in the grooves that I'm making. We'll super glue them in later. So, you know, a lot of testing, a lot of fitting, going back through, keep notching, keep filing. But you know, it'll get there eventually. Just take your time with it. You got to be careful on the notches on the bottom of that chassis that you don't burn a hole through there either. So I guess that's why it pays to take your time. But just about got these pipes fitting in here pretty good. Kind of happy with that. You can see I got them bent up finally. Did that off camera. That was a real pain in the neck. I got them sticking out just a little too far past the side of the body there than I wanted to, but that was just the first cut. I'm definitely going to trim those down to be a little bit more flush with the body panel. But now I think we're ready for a little paint. We're going to put our Otterborn Sealer Gray on there with the little 4012, thin it out a little, and we're going to start by laying, you know, a nice easy first coat down. If you remember earlier, there were some pits in there, so we're going to try and get those covered up a little bit. Didn't do a whole lot of sanding or anything after the wire brush. I did hit it with some triple lot steel wool and use some degreaser, and then I'm basically ready for the paint booth, since we're using primer and for our paint. But another coat of primer here. Gonna start layering it on, just a little bit thicker than the first coat. Again, you know, trying to keep that body you know, nice and smooth, get the pits covered, any of the imperfections, and the Otterborn Sealer does a great job in prepping that surface and making it look nice and smooth. So, and definitely want a nice smooth surface here for the paint job I've got in mind coming up here. It's kind of a lengthy process. There's a lot of steps involved, but I think the end result is definitely going to be worth it. So I think we're just about done with our prime job here. Um, get a quick look at it. Let that thing dry. Let it dry well. It's pretty wet, but it does dry quick. So what we're going to do here is lay down some gloss black over top our primer here. We're going to spray some Quicksilver Chrome on the next step here. So to get that chrome look underneath, you got to have a nice gloss black body. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to lay down a handful of layers here of our gloss black until we get it to be a nice, nice deep dark black. This Createx is real nice. The gloss black at least is real nice. It doesn't need anything. You can hit it straight out of the bottle. First coat though, you just got to go kind of light, and once you kind of get the first or so lighter coats, you can start laying it on a lot thicker without having any issues. But for some reason, that first coat of that gloss black really likes to go on nice and light. But see, we got a nice black body going on here. So we're going to lay down some Quicksilver Chrome. The idea here is to lay down a candy layer later on, and under our candy layer, the idea here is to I'm going to put a ghost flame down over the top. So I want to get like a two-tone look on my body. I'm going to start by putting this Quicksilver Chrome all over everything. Then I'm going to lay my flame mask down, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray a pearl silver over top of the whole car, and then I'll pull my flame mask off, and I should have a nice ghost flame effect going over the top of my car. So to start off with that effect, first thing we're going to do is get this Quicksilver Chrome put down. And again, great product here. You can straight out of the bottle. It applies super easy. A little bit of a trick here is to just spray real light to get that chrome look on the black. If you go down and just and blow it out there full bore, it get more of like a grainy aluminum look instead of a nice chrome look. So, which is not bad if that's what you're going for. But here's the flame mask I'm going for. It was one longer one. I cut it up. I wanted to extend it to make it look continuous across the whole top. I really like the way it looks. I think this thing's gonna pop. So like I said, we're gonna spray some pearl silver over the whole body now, and then once we pull that mask off, we should have a nice, it'll be chrome underneath there, but the offset colors from the chrome to the pearl silver, it's not super noticeable, but it is noticeable, and to make ghost flames, really like this method. It's gonna pop here when I put this this paint down. So don't have to put a whole lot of the pearl silver down to get the change in color. So I think I'm only going to do, I think I did 2 coats. So I think we're on coat 2 here. We're just going to make sure it's all covered up. Just make sure that we didn't miss any spots. Don't want to lay it on too heavy. Obviously don't want any rubs in it. But I'm just going to lay it on there. I think we got it looking pretty good. We're going to pull our mask off here before this thing gets time to dry, so nothing sticks. But Just gonna take our time here with our little tweezers. We're gonna pull that mask off there. You can look at that right there. You can see that ghost effect with that chrome underneath that silver. Um, it is pretty subtle. It's not super standout, but at least in my opinion. But it looks good. I think I like it just how it is. You know, honestly, this car could be go out just like this, but we got a little bit more mind for it. So that looks pretty sweet. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mix up our mid coat here, and we got some candy burgundy and our brandy one. I'm sorry, mix it with some deep purple. And what we're gonna go for here is a nice dark black cherry look. And later on we're gonna put a little fade on the bottom. We're gonna do like a black cherry on top, and fade it down to a candy black on the lower on the sides. I'm a big fan of this black cherry mix, and we're actually going to throw a little something on top of this once we get done painting this thing. But so just spraying it on here. You know, nice easy first coat. Second coat, you know, just a little bit heavier, but you know, you don't want to go, you know, full bore here. Being candy, you want to go slow and build your layers up till you get the desired look you're going for here. But as you can see, it's the color's getting darker with every coat. You can see those ghost flames popping through real well, and this color's looking great. You can see the sheen on that is really starting to show through. When this thing gets some gloss on it, it's gonna pop. So next up, I told you we're gonna work on a fade here, so we're gonna take some candy black. Same usual mixtures, you know, add a little 40-30 and a little 40-12. But we're gonna take our candy black and we're gonna try to fade it up the side of the body, and try as best we can to, you know, work it into that black cherry for a nice fade effect. It's not really expecting it to take a whole lot of paint here. I want to be pretty heavy on the black on the bottom, and then you can see I kind of got it on a 45-degree angle here to work it up the body and try to fade it up. You just gotta be careful you don't get, you know, too high with it and too much air on it, or you know, you're gonna blast that black all the way up to even the top of the roof there. So I'm trying to go as light as I can. I think I just about got it. The light in the box isn't showing how good it's actually looking here, but so to top this all off, I've got some hot rod sparkle white to really set this car off and make this thing pop and sparkle. I think this is going to be like the icing on the cake here. So we got our hot rod sparkle mixed up. We're going to blow on a couple coats here and try to get you know, try to get some sparkle added to our car here. And you can see already it's those sparkles are sticking to there, and really setting this car off. And I think it looks amazing. Look at that thing. I think it's really looking sharp. So we're going to give it one more coat, I believe, of the hot rod sparkle. Doesn't I don't think it's going to take too much more than that to get what we're looking for there. But look at that. You can see that thing sparkling. It's shining, black cherry, ghost flames going. It's looking sweet. So not a whole lot left to do here. You can see I painted up our chassis, front bumper, back bumper, grill, and the exhaust on the bottom. So now we have to, I already pre-cut my axle tubes and notched them out, so here all that's left to do is to get them tubes centered up, get them glued in, and then I've already cut the axles on the wheels we're going to use. So I do have some 5-spoke rims. I didn't have a perfect matching set. I'm running low on the bigger wheels in the back and the smaller wheels in the front, matching pairs. So I did have a really cool 5-spoke wheels from Greenlight that I'm going to put in the back, and I just have some regular Real Rider 5 spokes I'm going to put in the front, and they match pretty well, and I think it's really going to give this car the effect I'm looking for. It's just I don't know if you worked with the Greenlight wheels. They don't have the through axles. They just kind of poke in from the backside, so you got to kind of put one in on one side, and the notches on the tube, on the axle tube, don't really matter. So you can just measure right and basically pinch the wheels on, and that thing will just free spin in the axle tube. But right now we're just finishing up the fronts. We're gluing those axles in, since those are through axles. You can glue those in. The wheel will still spin just fine. So you want to make sure you get those wheels spaced off the tube, just a little bit, so when they spin they don't rub. And then you can pop a little glue in there. You can throw some super glue accelerator on there if you have it. It makes life a lot easier when you're doing these. You don't have to wait for the glue to dry. So we got our back wheel done, and we're about ready for full assembly here. You see the interior. I painted some black highlights in there. Here's a look at the bottom of our chassis. I super glued our exhaust tubes in there. I got our front and our back wheels in there ready to go. You can see the exhaust tubes sticking out there. They just look a little more authentic in my opinion, other than those plastic things sticking out. So I think they look pretty cool. Here's a look at our body here after I got it all done with the clear coat. The lighting here in the picture really just doesn't do this car justice, but you can kind of get a look-see here at our ghost flames with our hot rod sparkle on top. This car looks absolutely amazing in person. I wish I could get that on film for you from what I'm seeing, but we're gonna go ahead and put this thing together. The windshield is brand new. I didn't have to do anything with that. Got our interior in there, put our chassis on. I do have some self-tapping screws. Those things do save a lot of time, so you don't have to tap the posts out. So we're going to get this thing together, and we're going to see how this thing looks. But this is an amazing car. Before I put it on the turntable, I want to give you a little bit better of a close-up of it put together, just so you can try to get a better look at how nice that paint job's looking. Yeah, you can see it in the light there. You can see in the light the flames coming through on that black cherry. You can see there pretty good. The candy black fade to black cherry there in the middle. And you can see our custom-made side pipes coming out of the side there. This is really exactly what I was looking for. Great casting and great idea. I'm glad these guys picked this one to do this month. But look at that paint job, man. This thing looks sweet. I chromed the trim on the front and the back windows, and the side windows. Use a chrome pen for that, just to set it off a little bit more. And really not sure what else I could have done to this car. But as usual, we're going to take a step back and show you what we started with here. This is our '66 Nova. Cool car as it was. It was brand new out of the package. Cool flame job. So just tried to do the best I could and get this thing to really pop off. So here is what we finished with. This is my version of the 66 Nova. Um, it's candy black cherry, fade to black. It's got the ghost flames going across the whole top, the hood, roof, and in the back. Painted with hot rod sparkle all over. So this thing is just, it's shining to the nines. It's just I think it's one of the best cars I've done. Like I said earlier, this camera is really not doing this car justice. It's amazing. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching my project here. I want to thank the Three Blind Mice for putting this on. It's a really great thing that you guys do here, and we're working on some 50s cars coming up next for the Three Blind Mice projects. So anyway, thanks again, guys, and I will see you on the next one. See you later.